imagine for a second a hygiene routine that actually eliminates the root cause of body odor.
Right, instead of just, slathering synthetic fragrances over it to hide the smell.
Exactly, because right now there are literally millions of bacteria throwing an absolute feast in your armpits.
Yeah, and that stick of deodorant you put on this morning, it really didn't kill them at all.
No, it just covered up the smell of the chemical trash they leave behind, which is wild to think about. So today we are doing a deep dive into a really comprehensive June 2026 article by Nikki Chase from Era Organics.
It's a fantastic piece.
It really is. And our mission today is to explore the fascinating science of hypochlorous acid, or HOCl.
Right, which is this compound our bodies naturally produce.
Yeah, and we're going to understand how it's basically revolutionizing everything from body odor management to like actual wound healing.
I think this is going to be a huge aha moment for a lot of people regarding the actual biology of why we smell and how to fix it without getting totally lost in scientific jargon.
For sure. But before we can talk about the cure, we have to understand the crime scene, right? Like, how does body odor actually form?
Well, the biggest misconception, and we have to clear this up right away, is the idea that sweat smells bad.
I mean, I hear that all the time, but it feels so counterintuitive. Like, if I go for a run, my sweat definitely seems to be the problem.
It does seem that way, yeah. But sweat itself is entirely odorless.
Wait, really? Entirely?
Entirely. So think of apocrine sweat, which is produced by the apocrine glands in your underarms, and groinless like water, and more like a nutrient broth.
Nutrient broth. Okay, that sounds slightly gross.
I know, but it's packed with proteins, lipids, and specific amino acids, right? Like leucine and isoleucine.
Okay, so these amino acids are just hanging out.
Yeah, and when that broth reaches the surface of your skin, it has absolutely no scent. The odor only happens when resident skin bacteria decide to feast on those compounds.
Resident bacteria? Like who?
Specifically, we're talking about strains like Staphylococcus hominis and Corynebacterium xerosis.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. So the sweat is basically this like free buffet.
Right.
And the bacteria are the uninvited guests.
Exactly.
And body odor is the trash they leave behind.
That is the perfect way to look at it. These bacteria convert those odorless amino acids into volatile fatty acids and thioalcohols.
Thioalcohols. That sounds intense. What does a thioalcohol actually smell like?
Well, it's the exact same family of sulfur-based compounds that gives onions or garlic or even skunk spray their really pungent odor.
Oh, wow. So we're essentially smelling a microscopic sulfur exhaust.
Yes. Literally bacterial digestion exhaust.
Yeah.
But if you remove those specific bacteria, the sweat stays totally odorless. And that brings us to hypochlorous acid.
HOCl.
Right. And what's fascinating here is that HOCl isn't some lab-invented chemical. It's an endogenous oxidant.
Meaning our own bodies are already making it.
Exactly. Our white blood cells, our neutrophils to be specific, produce it naturally during an immune response. They essentially use HOCl as a chemical weapon.
A biological weapon against bacteria.
Right. It physically destroys the bacterial cell wall and disrupts their internal enzymes in just like 30 to 60 seconds. It causes rapid cell death.
Okay, but I have to play the skeptic here for a second because the word acid sounds pretty terrifying.
It does, yeah.
Like if I'm spraying acid on my delicate underarm skin, isn't that going to burn or cause some kind of reaction?
It's a totally fair question, but it really comes down to the exact numbers.
Yeah.
The concentrations we are talking about are incredibly low, usually between 0.0005% and 0.02%.
Oh, that's basically nothing.
It's mostly electrolyzed water and salt, and the pH sits between 4.0 and 6.5.
Which is important. Why?
Because that perfectly matches the skin's natural acid mantle.
Right, the acid mantle. You always hear skincare brands talking about that.
Because it's crucial. Since the HOCl matches that environment, it causes zero barrier disruption. It slips right past human cells. Your keratinocytes, your fibroblasts, your melanocytes, they aren't harmed at all.
That is wild. It basically recognizes human tissue as friendly territory while blowing up the bacteria. So what does this all mean when we compare it to, the stick of deodorant sitting on everyone's bathroom counter right now?
Well, traditional antiperspirants usually rely on something like 15% to 25% aluminum chlorohydrate.
To basically block the sweat ducts, right?
Right. They create a physical plug. Or if it's just a standard deodorant, it relies on synthetic fragrances to just chemically cover up those thioalcohols we talked about.
Throwing perfume on the garbage.
Pretty much. But HOCl removes the actual source of the garbage entirely.
Plus, since it's just electrolyzed salt water, it leaves no waxy residue. No more white stains on your dark shirts.
Which is a huge bonus. But we do need to add a nuance here. HOCl cannot replace your antiperspirant if you need to stop sweating.
Because it doesn't plug the duct?
Right. It does not stop you from sweating at all.
Got it. So if you're listening and you have a massive presentation and need to be bone dry, keep the antiperspirant.
Exactly. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's really about changing the skin's microbiome temporarily.
Temporarily? Like how fast do the bacteria come back?
Well, the beneficial bacteria on your skin actually bounce back in about 2 to 4 hours, but the odor-causing ones take 6 to 8 hours.
Oh, so the good guys get a massive head start.
Exactly. Which is huge because it avoids the antimicrobial resistance that triclosan-based deodorants can trigger. You aren't permanently nuking your skin's ecosystem.
That is such a smart biological shortcut.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this biocompatible compound safely kills odor-causing bacteria under the arms, my brain immediately goes to, like, what else is it doing for the rest of our body?
Oh, the applications are so broad. It's an incredible skincare multi-tool. For example, it's great for the feet.
Because foot odor is a whole different beast. Right?
Yeah, it targets things like brevibacterium linens and various fungi. It's also gentle enough for the groin to prevent chafing, and you can even use it on the scalp for dandruff.
But what about the face? Because acne is such a massive issue for so many people.
HOCl is pure magic on the face and torso. The main culprit behind inflammatory acne is Cutibacterium acnes.
And usually people just nuke that with benzoyl peroxide.
Right, like a 10% benzoyl peroxide or 2% salicylic acid. But those cause severe drying and peeling. HOCl kills the C. acnes bacteria without any of those harsh side effects.
That's amazing.
But here's the really cool part. It also suppresses pro-inflammatory cytokines.
Okay, science term alert. What are cytokines?
They are basically chemical messengers, specifically things like interleukin-1 and TNF-day. They tell your body to create redness and swelling.
Like the alarm system for a pimple.
Exactly. HOCl suppresses those cytokines, literally calming the redness down before a pimple even fully forms.
Here's where it gets really interesting for me, though.
Yeah.
What about actual medical trauma? Like if I cut myself shaving or scrape my knee?
Wound care is actually where HOCl shines the most. It is fully FDA cleared as a wound irrigant.
Really? Like in hospitals?
Yes, because it kills heavy-hitting pathogens like MRSA and Pseudomonas aeruginosa in 30 seconds.
MRSA. Wow, that's no joke.
Not at all. But the most crucial point is how it compares to things like 3% hydrogen peroxide or 10% povidone iodine.
Which is what everyone grew up using, right? You pour the peroxide on a cut and watch it bubble.
Right, but those older antiseptics actually damage your own tissue cells. They kill your fibroblasts, which delays healing.
Because the fibroblasts are the cells trying to rebuild the skin.
Exactly. You are killing your own repair crew. HOCl doesn't do that. In fact, clinical studies show HOCl-treated wounds heal 40% faster than those treated with just saline.
40% faster, just by not accidentally destroying our own cells.
That is incredible.
Incredible. Okay, so with all these miraculous benefits, it honestly sounds foolproof.
It does, but...
There's always a catch, right?
Yeah.
How do people mess this up? Let's go through the rule book.
Well, the chemistry is elegant, but fragile. Mistake number 1 is applying it to unwashed skin.
So if I'm super sweaty after the gym, I can't just spray it on as a quick fix.
Yeah. No, because it oxidizes organic matter. If you spray it on heavy sweat or old deodorant, it reacts with that debris and loses its power before it even reaches the bacteria on your skin.
So wash first, clear the runway. What's mistake number 2?
Wiping it off too soon. People spray it and immediately dry off with a towel.
Because we're all in a hurry.
Right. But doing that drops the bacterial kill rate from 99.9% down to like 40%. It absolutely needs that full 30 to 60 second dwell time to air dry.
Air dry is the key.
Got it.
And what about the bottle itself? The article mentions storage is a big deal.
Mistake number 3 is bad storage. Light and air degrade HOCl. If it's exposed to UV light within 30 to 90 days, it degrades into hypochlorite.
Hypochlorite, like OCl.
Exactly. Which is essentially a weak bleach. It reduces the antibacterial effectiveness by 80%.
So keep it in a dark, tinted bottle, tightly closed.
Yes. Opaque bottles only.
Okay, but this raises an important question. What if somebody follows all these rules? They wash, they air dry, they store it right, and it still doesn't work for them. They still smell.
It's a great question. There are a few scenarios where it might get bypassed. One is hyperhidrosis, which is excessive sweating. The sheer volume of water just washes the HOCl away continuously.
That makes sense. It just gets overwhelmed.
Another issue is a fluctuating skin pH, like from severe eczema. Eczema can make the skin alkaline, which instantly neutralizes the acid before it can work.
Oh, wow. And what about diet? Does food play a role?
A massive role, especially eating sulfur-rich foods like garlic and onions.
Oh, the garlic sweats.
Exactly. When you eat a ton of garlic, your body breaks it down into allyl-methyl sulfide, which goes into your bloodstream and is excreted directly out of your sweat glands.
So the bacteria have nothing to do with it at that point.
None at all. You are just sweating out the garlic compound from the inside. Since HOCl only targets surface bacteria, it can't do anything about internal dietary odors.
That is such a good distinction to make. Okay, so laying out the perfect routine for you listening right now.
Yeah.
You cleanse the area first.
Right?
You take your opaque bottle, spray it from 4 to 6 inches away.
Let it air dry completely.
Don't touch it, just let it dry. And then if you have dry skin, you can apply a ceramide-based moisturizer over it.
Exactly. That protects your lipid barrier without interfering with the HOCl.
It really is such an elegant, science-backed shortcut. I mean, it keeps you fresh, manages breakouts, heals cuts faster, and you avoid all those harsh synthetics or getting totally overwhelmed in the skincare aisle.
Yeah, you're just using a biological tool that your immune system already perfected.
Which is just wild to think about.
Yeah.
And it leaves you with this final kind of provocative thought to ponder on your own. If our white blood cells have been naturally manufacturing this ultimate, perfect antimicrobial all along, what other miraculous biological mechanisms are already inside our own bodies, just waiting to be bottled up to replace the harsh synthetic chemicals we use every single day?
It really makes you wonder what else we're going to discover.
It really does. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.